I'm 76 years old, and I've been sitting here this morning trying to remember the last time I left work on time, because I wanted to. Not because I had somewhere to be, but just because I decided I was done for the day. I can't remember. I've been trying for about an hour now, and I cannot find that memory anywhere. That tells you something. I worked for 34 years at the same company. Started when I was 31, after my second child was born, and we needed the insurance. I was good at what I did. That's not vanity, that's just what happened. I was organized, I was reliable, I understood the work, and I liked being someone people depended on. That feeling, being needed, I didn't understand how much I was feeding off of it until it was gone. My name at that company was Ruth, just Ruth, the one who handles it. The one who stays. If there was a problem on a Friday at 4:30, someone called Ruth. If a project ran long and everyone else had families and plans, Ruth would stay. I told myself it was because I was good. Really, I think I stayed because I didn't know what going home early looked like for me. Home was loud and complicated. Work was a place where I knew who I was. I want to tell you about something that happened when my daughter was about 9. It's been on my mind lately, and I'm going to come back to it. But first, I need you to understand how ordinary all of this was. That's the part no one tells you. It didn't feel like a mistake. It felt like Tuesday. My husband, Gerald, was patient for years. He was the kind of man who didn't argue, he just got quieter. I mistook his quiet for contentment. Later, I understood it was something else. But in those years when the kids were growing up and I was putting in 55, 60 hours a week, I genuinely believed we were fine. He never said we weren't. I never asked. There were nights I drove home and the house was already dark, everyone in bed. And I remember thinking, good, they're rested, they're taken care of. I made that mean something different than what it was. I needed it to mean something different. If you're still here, listening to this, I want to stop for just a moment and ask you something. Do you ever find yourself saying you'll be more present after this project, after this season, after things slow down? And then things slow down, and there's another thing, and you just keep going. I did that for 34 years. I kept waiting for a version of my life that had more room in it. It never came, because I never made it come. I'd like to ask you something else, too. What is the thing in your life right now that keeps getting postponed? Not a vacation. I mean a conversation, a phone call, a moment with someone who isn't getting younger either. Think about it. Write it in the comments if you want. I read them. I spend time with them. It's one of the better parts of my days now. And if this is reaching you, if something in here is landing, I'd be grateful if you'd like the video and subscribe. Not for numbers, just because it means someone else might hear this who needs to. Now, let me tell you about my daughter. Her name is Carolyn. She was 9 years old, and she had a school play. Not the main role, but a real part with lines. She'd practiced in the kitchen for 2 weeks. I remember watching her practice and thinking, I'll be there, of course I'll be there. There was a situation at work that week. I don't even remember exactly what it was. Something urgent, something that could not wait, something that only Ruth could sort out. And I sorted it out. And I missed the play. I told myself I'd make it up to her. I took her out to ice cream that weekend, and I bought her a little charm bracelet, and she smiled and said it was okay. She was 9. She said it was okay because she didn't know yet that she was allowed to say it wasn't. I didn't miss just that play. I missed a version of her that existed during those years, the version that still wanted me in the front row. By the time I slowed down enough to really look at her, she was 17, and the door was most of the way closed. Not all the way, but most of the way. We have a relationship now. It's real, but there's something underneath it that we don't talk about, a kind of careful distance she keeps, and I know where it came from. I know exactly where it came from. Gerald retired before I did. He had more hobbies than I'd realized. Woodworking, a garden, a friend Paul he'd meet for breakfast on Thursdays. He'd built a whole quiet life in the margins of mine. When I finally retired, I expected to step into something. I found out it was already finished without me. We weren't unhappy. That's what made it so strange. We were just parallel. Two people living in the same house on separate tracks that had been slowly diverging for decades. He died 4 years ago. Heart attack, very fast, almost no warning. And I was grateful in some terrible way that he didn't suffer. But I also spent a long time after that understanding that I had assumed we had more time to finally get around to each other. I thought retirement was going to be our season. I really believed that. We had 2 good years. They were good years. But I keep coming back to the 30 before them and thinking about all the Thursdays I could have come home at 5. Now I want to tell you the part that doesn't get fixed. I will not get those years back. That's just a fact. Carolyn's childhood is not something I can revisit. The version of Gerald who used to leave notes on the kitchen counter when I worked late, I don't know exactly when he stopped doing that because I wasn't paying close enough attention to notice when it changed. He's gone, and I can't ask him. My own memories of my children growing up are thinner than they should be. I was there, technically, but I was also somewhere else most of the time. My company sent me a card when I retired, a cake in the break room, a small gift card to a restaurant Gerald and I went to once, and then he died, and I haven't been back. Within a year of my retirement, most of my work relationships had dissolved completely. Not out of cruelty, just out of reality. We weren't friends. We were colleagues who had proximity and purpose in common. And when the purpose ended, so did the proximity, and that was that. 34 years. A card, a cake, a gift card I still have in a drawer. I'm not angry. I want to be clear about that. I made the choices I made. Nobody forced me to stay late. Nobody told me work was more important than my daughter's play. I told myself that. I built that hierarchy myself, and I lived inside it for decades without questioning it because it felt like responsibility, and responsibility felt like virtue. But here's what I wish someone had said to me at 45, plainly, the way I'm saying it to you now. The work will not remember you the way you remember it. The work will move on. Someone else will sit at your desk and handle the Friday problems and be indispensable for a while, and then also retire and also get a cake. That is how it goes. That has always been how it goes. And meanwhile, your actual life, the people in it, the evenings, the ordinary Tuesdays, those are happening right now and only right now, and you do not get a second pass. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm not in a position to tell anyone anything. I just know what it's like to be 76 and have a drawer full of things you meant to get around to. Carolyn calls me on Sundays. We talk for a while. She tells me about her kids, my grandchildren, who I am trying now to actually know. Trying harder than I ever tried with anything at work. I show up for things. I don't cancel. I've gotten better at sitting still without reaching for something to fix. But I know who I was, and I know what that cost her, and she's kind about it. She's very kind about it, which sometimes makes it harder, not easier. I sit in the mornings with my coffee, and I think about Gerald leaving notes on the counter. I think about Carolyn at 9 saying it was okay. I think about all the Fridays. And then I finish my coffee and I go about my day. That's all there is now. Going about the day. It's quieter than I expected. Some mornings, that's fine. Some mornings, it isn't.